The 2026 draft, guys, can you believe it? It's 1 week away, and we're going to talk about the top 15 wide receivers. The reason I'm doing top 15 rather than my typical top 10 is because honestly, this is just a really deep class, and it's got a lot of very intriguing players that are just so unique. I wanted to be able to touch base on a little bit more of them, guys. So if you love NFL draft content, if you love these rankings videos, please, consider subscribing, like the video. Let's grow this thing. You could also follow me on my Broncos channel, Marquee Sports Denver. Link's going to be down below in the description. If you love talking about NFL news, specifically for the Denver Broncos, we have a great time there. But let's get right into some of these rankings, man, because to be honest with you, I'm very excited about this group, right? So we're going to start with number 15, work our way up to 11 here. But as you can see, number 15, I got Dion Burke. He's someone that I was really impressed by. I know a lot of other people were, really talking a lot more about Zachariah Branch there, but I just felt like Dion Burke is the kind of athlete and player that really his game translates a little bit more in the NFL. He's got more of the physicality to him. Absolutely relentless. I think he's a pretty polished route runner for the most part. And I like the way that he plays. And I just feel like he really is going to be able to help a lot of teams early on in a very specific role. Your wide receiver 3, your wide receiver 4 type of role there. And I think he can develop into something really solid overall, right? But, obviously not the biggest guy, 5'9", 188 pounds, but he plays a lot bigger than his weight in terms of his after the catch ability. And I just liked what I had seen from him, man. I thought he was a really impressive player overall. Forces a lot of missed tackles as well in the open field. And I like what it is that he can do, but I think he's got a lot of upside. I think he could be a really good slot receiver right off the gate for a lot of players. He might be able to help you a lot in terms of the special teams as well. So, yeah, definitely wanted to show some love to Dion Burks there. No doubt about that. Number 14 here on the list is going to be Eric Rivers. Dude, this guy, man, Georgia Tech, they don't throw the ball a lot at all. But holy moly, man, he's a fun player. He's a fun pulling player to watch, man. When he's on it and when he's called upon in that offense to get going, he is absolutely a beast. I mean, absolutely a beast. The dude can fly. He's one of the more explosive players in the entire NFL draft, to be completely honest with you, from what I had seen. And I really like his upside, man. I like his game a lot. Again, another one of those smaller guys, 5'11", 180. But, man, sometimes he looks like he's genuinely uncoverable. And, again, a lot of value as a return man in the receiving game. I think he can add a lot of value to many wide receiver rooms in those specified wide receiver 3, wide receiver 4 roles again. And maybe he can eventually develop into something. I kind of got shades of Emmanuel Sanders a little bit here as a Denver comp in terms of just a dude that's a little bit undersized but gets open, separates. And I feel like with more opportunities, he's really going to be able to show what it is that he can do. But even in that, low volume offense at Georgia Tech, he was playing really well. And then you look at his 2024, 62 catches, over 1,100 yards, an 18.8 average, and 12 touchdowns. So he really blew up there in 2024. And again, the whole offense kind of changed a lot for him in 25, but he was still able to produce and just he's a really good route runner, man. He's someone that I think can stop and start really, really good. And I liked a lot what I had seen from Eric Rivers. Brendan Thompson originally was in my top 10. You talk about juice. I wanted to make this list because I wanted to be able to talk about Brendan Thompson because he's someone that, man, he's so fun to watch. He's absolutely blazing fast. You saw it at the combine. Some people thought he was going to be able to get into break the 4.21 record, but he's unbelievably quick. But man, he's 5'9", 170. I get it, but he plays a lot bigger than that. He's got super reliable hands. And I think he's got a lot more pass catching juice than what you've seen in terms of his overall ability to be a route runner in this draft. He's not just a deep threat, someone to take the top off of the defense, even though many of the times they've, utilized him specifically for that. Just unbelievable speed. And, where I got shades of Tyreek Hill when I talk about game speed and why the game speed is so different with him is because he'll catch like a little slant across the middle and then the acceleration is so evident. And so if you have a really creative offensive play caller that can figure out ways to get the ball in this guy's hands in space, man, he's going to make guys pay. I mean, you saw it with Tyreek, and by no means am I saying he's Tyreek Hill, but you saw that's what really made Tyreek Hill special, is just he's significantly faster than everybody else. He's got that kind of juice and that kind of traits, and I think that he's only going to be able to get better with expanding his route tree in the NFL. But again, someone that can come in, still be a very viable role, add a ton of juice to an offense, and help you guys out in the return game or whatever else is needed. But just, I love Brendan Thompson, man. He's one of my favorite wide receivers in this draft, no doubt about it. And then another dude, man, I was really blown away by was Kevin Coleman. This guy, of all the guys from 11 through 15, I feel like Kevin Coleman is the guy who has the highest floor. You just feel like when you watch him play, he's going to be really good. He's very smooth. He's very athletic. He's kind of a poor man's version of Jeremy Bernard in this particular draft. But I like his game a lot, man. I think he's just, you can line him up everywhere. I think he's best suited in the slot, but really good separator, was, having his way against a lot of SEC corners, man. And I really thought that he was a playmaker, made some big time plays in very critical moments as well. And I mean, I like him. Again, he's not going to necessarily blow you away. I mean, you look at his measurables and you think he probably should be somebody that is able to pull away from guys, and he can certainly do that at 5'11", 180. But that's not how he wins, and I kind of like that. I kind of like that he doesn't just rely on his athleticism to beat you. But 2 very productive years at Missouri, even with Luther Bird in there, and I can't remember the other guy's name, but he was pretty, it's escaping me now, but he was still able to be productive with both those guys there last year, and continued to have really solid production this year as well. The biggest thing that you're gonna, you don't like to see about him, he's not really a touchdown getter. He only had 1 touchdown this past season, but 18 tackles forced, missed. So you got to love that. You got to love his ability of what he could do in space. Again, really good separator, very reliable hands, just 2 drops, something that I like to see. So I felt like his game translates really well. And then Malachi Fields, that dropped out of my top 10 as well to number 11. And the reason being, I mean, he's very different. Like I'll tell you, I would probably, on my team, prefer any of the guys from 12 through 15 because they can just add such an unbelievably dynamic aspect to your offense. But Malachi Fields, man, there's so many question marks still there. He wasn't given a lot of opportunities at Notre Dame to show the kind of total receiver that he can be. The big question was his speed, his long speed specifically. And you saw that at the combine where he ran 4.6. It's not so much about his speed rather than his route running just isn't very refined. He doesn't change directions very quickly. And so that could hamper him. But also, he looks like he is so physically gifted athletically that if he can just fix a little bit of the nuances there, this guy's got tremendous, tremendous potential. I mean, obviously, prototypical frame for a wide receiver 1, man. I mean, all these other guys on this list are smaller dudes. This dude's 6'4", 222. His great ball skills, his contested catch is phenomenal. So there's going to be a lot of teams that love Malachi Fields, and they feel like they're going to be able to really mold him into something. And it's also because he does a lot of the intangibles really well. He's a phenomenal blocker, and he likes to block. So you're talking about a big slot role, someone that wants to run him as a Z, where he's lined up closer to the line of scrimmage, work in the middle of the fields, but also able to contribute in the run game. Yeah, Malachi Fields, I think, is going to be somebody's favorite, but just outside my top 10, but definitely love Malachi. And I think, again, where he goes is going to be very, very, very important. So, all right, let's get into numbers 6 through 10 here. Number 10, I did put Ted Hurst here, man. Everyone's been talking about him. Andy's got him pretty high on his NFL draft board. Shout out to Andy. But I get it. Like, it's hard to, just similar to Skylar Bell, it's hard to get a really good idea because of the competition that he's playing at Georgia State. But the dude is just buttery smooth. I mean, he really is. He's a good player. Very, very good route runner. And obviously, he did himself a whole lot of favors when he was going to the Senior Bowl and just killing it. But phenomenal size speed combination overall for Ted Hurst. You love to see that. And, you know, he's he's got the adequate length. The number one thing that I wrote down that I liked about him too, aside from just his ability to play football, is that he stayed very committed and loyal to Georgia State. He got a whole bunch of offers to go to other schools, decided to stay there. I love that. That shows a lot about his character and what means a lot to him. But this kid's only 21 years old, man. And at 6'3", 195, I think he's like a bowl of clay. That's a really good height weight combo, in my opinion. If you want to put a little bit of size on him, you can. But contested catchability is great. He's a very willing blocker. He's a true outside X receiver, in my opinion. But I think he's going to be someone that is really, really good. And what's great about Ted Hurst, he can beat you deep, and he can beat you in the short to intermediate routes. Because again, he's a really polished route runner. It's hard to get a very good idea because sometimes you're like, is he wide open because the corner and the competition is just low? But when you really just isolate him and you look at him, he's ridiculously twitchy. And again, I think, man, with NFL coaching and an NFL strength and conditioning program, he's going to be really good. He is good at running most routes. There's some routes where I feel like he just wasn't really sinking his hips very well. The change of direction at the top of routes, like him stopping, sometimes he struggles with a little bit. But again, those are things that can get cleaned up in the NFL. I think he has tremendous upside, and he could be a really big steal. But I don't think at this point he's actually a steal. I think he's going to go day 2 at the latest, probably in the second round. So excited to see what it is that he can do. Another guy that my boy Andy put me onto is Dejon maybe Stribling. This dude, man, is another one of those receivers where I was kind of helmet scouting. I'm not going to lie, because he does play at Ole Miss. We know Ole Miss receivers don't always translate super well into the NFL because they're not running a very big route tree. But Dejon Stribling, they kind of used him in a lot of different ways there. And so I felt like his game was just impressive. Obviously got a really solid frame, 6'2", 210. He's kind of built a little bit more like a running back, and he's got ridiculously good hands. 1 drop in 74 targets and 55 catches this past season. 2 years of just very good, solid, consistent production. And again, he's someone that his game translates really well to the NFL, in my opinion. I think he has a chance of being a better NFL player than he does a college player because of just his ability to be versatile and get open, catch everything, plays very, very tough, very strong. And again, like he can win on the slots and the fade routes in the red zone. He can beat you on some of the deep routes. The contested catch ability is amazing. Is he the best separator? Not quite, but he doesn't always necessarily need to be, because he wins this game with physicality, with body control, body positioning. So I liked what he had seen there. And I think he can come in, be a very, very good wide receiver 3 for a team to start, and then develop into more of that starting caliber wide receiver 1. He can play on the outside. He can play in the slot. There's a lot of different ways that you can utilize Dejon Stribling as well. But I love receivers that are sized like him, man. Just, physically built wide receivers, super solid overall player. And again, you are going to have some of that learning curve with him, with the route tree and the route running coming from Ole Miss. But I think he can contribute and change really, really quickly. All right, number 8 is Skylar Bell, man. I'm not going to lie. I absolutely just fell in love with Skylar Bell. UConn is tough to find some tape on him. And obviously, again, you have lower competition. But Skylar Bell is just a dude, man. The guy is buttery smooth. You can make the argument that he's one of the best route runners in this entire class. The dude is just an absolute behemoth when it comes to running routes and separating and making plays. I mean, he was the only offense that they had there at UConn, and all he would continuously do is just keep making plays. And he's another one of those guys where had offers to go elsewhere, wanted to stay where he is, but genuinely looks uncoverable when he was at UConn. And he's not going to be the biggest guy, right? 6 foot, 185. He might have been a little bit bigger than that at the combine. Let me just pull that up really quickly. But again, I mean, he's got adequate size, but it just seems like he's got he's 5'11" and 5/8, 192 pounds. Big hands though. But speaking of, like, he's got very reliable hands. But man, anytime they needed to make a play, they went to Skylar Bell. And the other defenses would know. Like, the only guy that we have to worry about is Skylar Bell. He's basically the entire offense in the passing game for UConn. There was many times where he's double teamed. They still couldn't stop him. The dude had over 1,200 yards, 102 catches. Listen, when you're playing with lower competition like Skylar Bell is, you want to see somebody absolutely dominate. And that's exactly what he did. And he was double teamed and he was always the focal attention, and he still consistently made plays, even with not the best quarterback play on his end. Fagiano was all right, but man, the guy's just, he kind of checks all the boxes. I mean, he can do everything. I think he's going to be drafted in day 2 range as well, but man, he's good. He's just really, really good. I really enjoyed watching Skylar Bell. I think he's going to be a really special receiver. To be honest with you, like, I kind of wanted to put him higher, but the other guys ahead of him were just really good too. And I felt like it was tough to do that. And I kind of had to knock him down just a little bit because, again, he did play at UConn and he's a little bit older prospect, but absolute stud. I think you stick him in the slot, you got a really solid slot receiver for the next 8 to 10 years, no doubt about it. All right, number 7 is Casey Concepcion. And in a way, their game is very similar to Skylar Bell in a sense of, like, they just separate and he just makes plays. He's an explosive, buttery smooth athlete. I really, really like what he can do, but very, very explosive and very sudden. When the ball is in his hands, he moves, he's slippery, he's quick. Phenomenal return value as well with the team. So he does all of that, but you get him, with him, you got to just get the ball in his hands and good things are going to happen. Really, really enjoyed watching him play, and he's really nuanced. He's a solid route runner. He can get a little bit better, but he's just got a really good way to separate, to get open, to make plays. You can give him some rushing attempts out of the backfield too, obviously because of his return ability. So you like to see that. The biggest knock on him, and obviously everyone's talking about it, is his hands. Very unreliable hands. He mentioned that. He talked about it. He said it's just a concentration thing. And so you can obviously clean those things up, but you definitely don't want to see the drop rate as high as what it is that he's gotten. But one of the best separators, one of the best after the catch guys. And, you see they've lined this kid up everywhere, man. They lined him up in the slot a whole bunch, especially early on in his career. In fact, in 23 and 24, he was strictly a slot receiver. Did super well. They put him more outside this year at Texas A&M, and all he did was keep balling and have his best season in college football. 61 catches, 919 yards, and 9 touchdowns. An absolute playmaker. I think Casey Concepcion is getting first-round buzz. I think he's going to go in the first round. I think there'll be probably 5 or 6 receivers that go in the first round this year, depending on what you're looking for. But, man, you're looking for a kid that I think is just scratching the surface of his ceiling. I think Casey's going to be an absolute stud. And then number 6 is Jeremy Bernard, man. He was so close to getting into my top 5 because he's just very good at everything. Very, very solid. Good at blocking. He's got a really solid build. Excellent separator, even though he's not necessarily the most sudden athlete. He's a very good, very smooth athlete. And I think that he's just super good, man. Super slept on. Again, went under the radar because he's not the flashiest of players, but all he does is produce. Extremely reliable. Doesn't drop balls at all. He's just got very reliable hands. 1.5% drop rate, which is pretty ridiculous. He's gotten better every single year, and he's sneaky good with the ball in his hands too. Again, he's 6'1", 204. He ran well at the combine. I think he ran in the 4.4s, which is a really good number for him. But my goodness, this dude, his game translates so well to the NFL. Very similar to what we had in terms of with Kevin Coleman, right? In terms of like his game just translates really well. But I just think he's even better. Good frame, 6'1" and a fourth, 206 pounds. Played at Alabama. They used him everywhere, and he was just incredibly reliable when he was called upon. But the athletics, the combine was really big for somebody like Jeremy Bernard, and not a lot of people are saying he's going to be a first-round pick. He's pretty consistently drafted in the second. But again, it wouldn't surprise me if he was one of the top 5 receivers taken in this draft because a lot of teams love ready-made receivers. And that's kind of what Jeremy Bernard is. Like, there's not anything that he significantly needs to get better at, or he needs to spend a lot of time working on to get better. He just needs to refine some things. And so he's going to be able to contribute for teams a lot more quickly. But I really dig, Jeremy Bernard, man. And can he be a true wide receiver one for a team? I mean, maybe not. But again, you always need a really solid two. You always need somebody that can go in there, do the dirty work, block whenever you need to. Um, make the tough contested catches across the middle, be able to stretch the field at times, and get his nose dirty. And that's what he does. He's that reliable, chain moving wide receiver. And that's something that I think is becoming more and more sought after in today's NFL. All right, guys, hope you guys have enjoyed this so far. Let me know in the comments what your thoughts are so far between wide receivers 6 through 15. And we'll get to the top 5 here. This is how I got it. Number 5 is Denzel Boston. Similar to Malachi Fields, him and Malachi Fields are the only two that have that big body wide receiver size, right? The prototypical size that you would expect from an outside X receiver, 6'4" and change, 200 plus pounds. You love to see that. Obviously, when you're comparing Denzel Boston with Malachi Fields, he's a much twitchier athlete. He's a much more smooth athlete, a little bit more explosive. You see it more consistent. He's able to do a better job separating as well. But, he's somebody else, man. Super strong hands, contested catches, ridiculously good. Elite production when you come to red zone and third downs, and just really good at the catch point. His long speed, some people have questions about. I think it's definitely adequate. I think he seems like he's got better long speed than Malachi Fields does, but Drake London's always kind of been the comp to him. I think it's a really solid comp just because of the type of physical wide receiver that he is. But I'm super big fan of his. I thought was incredibly productive at Washington. I think he's going to make a really good outside wide receiver for an NFL team. Number 4, we got Omar Cooper Jr. This guy is someone that I loved. And then you watch him more and you love him more. And then you dig into him and his background and his past and you like him even more. I wanted to put him into my top 3. I really, really did. I think he could be very deserving. This kid is going in the first round. Mark it down in Sharpie. He just is. There's no way that teams are not going to spend a first round pick on Omar Cooper Jr. And why wouldn't they? He can do literally everything. He's phenomenal after the catch. He's a phenomenal route runner. He can play all over the field. I think he's best as a slot receiver, but just super productive in the screen game. Helps out in the pass game, makes some unbelievable catches, and in big time moments. Coming from Indiana with Kirk Sidnetti, that's going to be a really big positive thing. But Omar Cooper, man, he is ready made. And the most deceiving thing about him is when I watched him first, I was like, yeah, he's not going to test all that fast, and it might hurt him, but he's still winning. He doesn't look like he's fast. And then he goes to the combine and runs his 40. He gets in the 4.4s, and it didn't look anything like it. So it's like he's deceptively quick and shifty and moves really, really good. And big play, big moments, played at a great program. I'm a big fan of Omar Cooper Jr. Overall. He's not going to give you the big contested catch ability. I get that, but he's just overall so good and so unbelievably versatile. And again, I mean, tied for 4th in the entire NCAA for missed tackles forced from a receiver. So that's really good. And again, you get the ball in his hands, he makes things happen. But 69 catches, 937 yards, 13 touchdowns for an undefeated national championship winning team. Omar Cooper, man, he's going to be so fun. I cannot wait to see where he goes and how he ultimately plays. Number 3 is Mekhi Lemon, and all the weird stuff from him with the combine, like the interviews and how weird he was with some of that, it kind of rubbed me the wrong way, but that is what it is. But when you watch Mekhi Lemon, you understand why he's a potential top 15 pick in this draft. The guy is ridiculously good with the ball in his hands. People give him the Amon-Ra St. Brown comp. Obviously, they went to the same college at USC. He's not necessarily as physical, but holy hell, can this dude make guys miss, especially in the short to intermediate area. He's just really damn good. He really is. He's a dangerous weapon. Short area separation and quickness, absolutely elite. in my opinion, he is the best route runner in this draft. He's tough as nails too, and he seems like he's very aware. Like he's got very good football IQ, especially in zone. He's very aware of like where to go, how to position his body to be able to put him in the best position possible. So, not somebody that's gonna blow you away or kill you with his overall size, but his speed, his twitchiness, his ability to get open is truly special. 5'11", 195 pounds. I think he's going to be one of the best wide receivers in the NFL within the next few years. If his game goes from college to the NFL the way that I think that he can. But unbelievably productive, very good with the ball in his hands, elite route runner, checks all the boxes. A little bit undersized, but I'm not even overly concerned about any of that. Number 2 is Jordan Tyson, and you could interchange those two. I didn't want to put his injury history. I don't want it to make it affect him that much as it's probably going to. Like I do believe Carnell Tate, Mekhi Lemon will ultimately go before Jordan Tyson. You can make the argument that Omar Cooper will too. I don't have the full history of his medicals. I mean, I know he got a lot of injuries. They're not necessarily related, so it could just be really bad luck. But when Jordan Tyson plays, he is phenomenal. You talk about a really good route runner. He is that. And I maybe I'm crazy, but I kind of feel like his game is very similar to Mekhi Lemon's in a sense of like he's a very good route runner and he can separate, but he's more physical because he's 6'2", 200 pounds. So he's got a lot more physicality to his game, contested catch ability to his game. And I think he's got insane potential to be a top tier wide receiver 1. Again, what do his medicals look like? That's going to affect his draft status. But man, if he drops in this draft, there's going to be a team at the end of that first round that's going to be really, really lucky to get Jordan Tyson because he's phenomenal. I think he's got all pro level potential in terms of just everything that he can do. And the cool thing is that at Arizona State, like he ran a very complete route tree. They use him in a multitude of different ways. It's not just get the ball in his hands, let him go out athlete guys. I mean, the deep digs, the slant routes, the posts. I mean, so many different types of routes that he was running, and he seemed extremely good at running all of them. So very polished wide receiver. If I'm rooting for him to stay healthy in the NFL, man, because I think he's phenomenal. His body control is ridiculous. And again, he's not small. I mean, 6'1", 220, 6'2", 200. Sorry, flip those 6'2", 200 pounds. But he plays like he's 6'4", 220. And so I dig Jordan Tyson, man. I think he's phenomenal. And I do believe Carnell Tate, number 1, is the best wide receiver in this draft class. Not just because he went to Ohio State. I just think he's got it all, man. He's got every single box, in my opinion, that you want somebody to check. Carnell Tate has that. In addition to, you hear so many unbelievable things about his character and the kind of locker room presence that he was at a very respected university. And he's kind of went under the radar, right? Because he was always overshadowed by other guys. Jeremiah Smith specifically, Emeka Ibuka last year a little bit, but all the dude does is put his head down and play. He loves to block, which you expect from Ohio State wide receivers, but he's an absolute technician, such a good wide receiver. And, at 6'3", 195, he's got perfect size as well. So you talk about, he has the size, the prototypical size. He's an unbelievable route runner, great separator. He's going to be NFL ready because Ohio State wide receivers coached under the wide receiver coach there are always NFL ready. Forgot the wide receiver coach's name, but I know he went to UCF recently, Brian Hartline. So you know what you're going to be getting, which makes him a very safe projection overall, but still has an incredibly high floor. I think that NFL teams, majority of them, have Carnell Tate as a wide receiver 1, and I understand why that would be the case. And so the big question you have is what kind of run after the catch guy can he be? Because he didn't really show or need to do a lot of that in college. I don't really know, but I don't necessarily care because this is someone that you're going to utilize to just get open and make plays and be reliable. And you can have other guys on the roster that could be your kind of explosive yak guys, but he obviously has that in his bag. And I think he's I just think he's great, man. Like I said, he checks all the boxes in terms of route running, athleticism, size, hands, and reliability. He's got all those. And what makes him my true not wide receiver one is just the fact that he's been able to stay relatively healthy throughout his career, and he loves to do all the little things, and all the intangibles are really good too. So he loves to block. He takes pride in that. He's a good locker room leader, and I think he's going to be a wonderful addition to somebody's team. Let me know what you guys think about the top 10 or top 15 rankings of the wide receivers. Is there anybody else that I missed? There's a lot of late day prospects that I really like as well. I'll probably do a dedicated separate video for that of some day 3 wide receivers or maybe some UDFAs that I'm really intrigued by that I like. But appreciate you guys tuning in. Hope you guys enjoyed this, and have a wonderful day. Peace.